Bava Kamma Daf Yud Tet Amud Aleph, the conclusion to Bava Kamma, a philosophy of money, Kol HaGozel et Xavero. We started this amazing Masechta with the comment of Rav Yehuda from Daf Lamed, Kol man de boy lemevi chasido. Any individual who wants to be a chassid, who wants to be a person of very great stature, should learn l'kayim milidin azikin. He should learn and fulfill all the ideas that are contained in this Masechta. And I've tried in the Matmonim right through the Masechta to weave that theme even into the most technical of laws that we deal with in Bava Kamma, to understand how do we get from that to the idea of becoming a chassid, becoming a great human being, a pious person. What is the connection between spiritual piety and these business laws with which Bava Kamma is so full? And we conclude the Masechta with the same idea. In so doing, to understand that money is not just an instrument of finance. When we look at money, we've also got to look at it with the eye of the artist and see the human side of money. When you see money, somebody's money, one has to see and feel the sweat and blood and tears that have been put into the earning of that money. Because that's what money is, the creation of wealth, an enormous amount of thought and effort and mesirus nefesh. People kill for money. People sacrifice enormous things for their businesses, for their money. They sacrifice family, they sacrifice time, they sacrifice their learning of Torah. They make enormous sacrifices for money. And God forbid that, as we know, sometimes people even take their lives over money. It's something that occupies the mind and the heart and a person's being to such a degree. And the creation of wealth, whether one's created $1 million or $1 billion, every cent of that $1 billion has the sweat and blood and tears of the creator of that wealth in it. And when we're dealing with spiritual things and energy, you can't break it down and say, well, it's just a penny's worth of sweat and blood and tears. It doesn't work like that. Sweat and blood and tears, the nefesh benafsho yavi lachmo, we say on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. A person earns his living benafsho. He puts his life into his money. So we've got to look at money also from a human perspective, see what's in it. In every cent that a person has earned, there is an investment of such energy, whether he's a poor person who's had to invest physical labor, or he's a wealthy person who's invested mind and intellect. It doesn't matter. All of it is the result. The creation of wealth is the result of investing everything that one has and everything that one is into the efforts to be able to generate that wealth. And our Gemara is a statement by Rabbi Yochanan that Kol HaGozel et Xavero Shaveh Pruta. Therefore, if you steal even only a pruto worth, a cent, you steal from another person, Ki'ilu notel nishmato mimeno. You're taking something of his neshama away from him. Don't separate money and spirituality into two separate worlds and think that you're busy with the one, you're not busy with the other, and vice versa. No, a person has put his neshama into his business. That's how you build a business. You don't build a business without putting your neshama into it. You don't create wealth. Yes, you can become an avid, you can become a worker, and even then you get up early, you work hard, you put your mind into it. But if one's creating wealth all the time, your mind is on it. You're strategizing, you're thinking, what does my customer need? How can I fulfill the needs of my customer? The changing trends of the industry. How do I respond to the changing trends of the industry? All of that, you put your neshama into your business. And you've taken money, even if it's only a pruta from another person, you've taken some of his neshama. Rabbi Yisrael Salanta says in the Igeres Hamusu that the Torah lens is like a microscope or a telescope. You look at stars, they're just little stars in the sky, you can hardly notice them. Take a telescope, you realize you're looking at something that's massive, that each star is so much bigger than the sun is so much bigger than the earth. We can't get our head around the size of one star. But you need a telescope to begin to understand that, or you take a microscope and you look at little things. The Torah enlarges life. The Torah shows you what everything really is. Those little things that you tend not to notice, when you look at it through the lens of a Torah, they get magnified. That's what the Torah does. To realize a pruta is not just a little pruta, like a star is just a little star in the sky. A pruta, a cent, is part of a person's neshama. And a person's neshama is infinite. There is infinity in a cent. There's an infinity of human energy, thought, sweat, blood and tears in every cent a person has generated. And through the Torah's eyes we understand that greatness, that enormity of even a small unit of currency. And the Gemara goes through various different psukim, from Mishle, from Yirmiyahu, from Yoel, from Shmuel. I quote all the psukim at the top of the source sheet, showing how this is really so, ending with the posuk from Shmuel where there's a famine and David just turns to Hashem and says, what's going on? How do we end this famine? Vayomer Hashem el Shaul ve'el beit hadamim al asher himit et hagivonim. This is because Shmuel killed the Givonim. The Givonim were the people who were sly in the way they got converted, and they were cursed to be the water drawers and the wood choppers for the Beis Hamikdash. And when Shaul killed the city of Nov, of the Kohanim of Nov, he cut off the livelihood of these Givonim. And although he didn't do anything to the Givonim, he didn't touch the Givonim, Hashem treats it al asher himitet hagivonim. And says the Gemara, Ela mitoch sheharag Nov ira Kohanim shayu maspikim lehem mayim umazon. Nov, the city of Kohanim, used to supply water and food to the Givonim, who used to chop the wood and draw the water. Ma'aleh alav hakatuv ki'ilu hargan. It's such an indirect thing that Shaul did, and the Torah regards Shaul as a murderer of the Givonim. And the Chofetz Chaim says there, you see how far Hashem goes in understanding cause and effect, and looking, again, magnifying, that he goes, this very indirect action that resulted in a loss of income, in a direct loss of income. He didn't kill the Givonim. He didn't take money from the Givonim. He just cut off their line of income. He just cut off their revenue. Says the Chofetz Chaim, you see from there how the Rebbeinu Shem looks at indirect damage. We've been learning Grama and Garmi, are you chayev, are you not chayev? But what kind of a human being are you? Don't forget that when you learn Bava Kamma. Whether you have a claim in court or you don't have a claim in court is just a technicality. It says nothing about your righteousness. You may have no claim in court, but you can still be a Rosha. You're still a wicked person. You can have no claim in court, as in the case of the Givonim. The Givonim had no claim on Shaul. Shaul didn't touch them. And yet Hashem sees Shaul as a murderer of the Givonim, although he very indirectly simply interfered with their source of revenue. And that's seen as an act of murder, says the Chofetz Chaim. Do you see how Hashem sees the world? Do you see how Hashem looks at human action and human motivation? The details, how careful and machmir one has to be, how meticulous one has to be in laws of business. And the Chofetz Chaim says if it's that in the negative, we know that Hashem is even more so generous with good than he is meticulous with bad. So if Hashem regards every little negative thing that we did in the most indirect of ways, and he magnifies it, how much more so with the good things that we do. If through an action we've assisted a person to earn a living, we've helped a person's revenue stream, we've given somebody some advice that has made it easier for him to function, we've encouraged somebody, all these things that we might think are very small, Hashem regards as very big, says the Chofetz Chaim. But the big issue that troubled me all of last night and all of this morning is kol hagozel chaviro shaveh pruta. You steal a pruta from somebody, you steal a cent, it's as if you've taken his life. Is that only a very poor person? Doesn't seem so. It doesn't say if you steal a cent from a poor person, it's as if you've taken his life. It seems to say from anybody. If you steal a cent from Bill Gates, it's as if you've taken his life. Is Bill Gates going to notice the cent's gone? It's going to make a difference in his life? What does Rabbi Yochanan mean? That troubled me literally all night. I couldn't sleep at night because of that. What does Rabbi Yochanan mean? And the Maharal has an approach which didn't satisfy me. And the Giloy and Ashas Rabbi Akiva Eger, in a note on his Gemara in the Giloy and Ashas, refers to a Tosfos in Bava Metzia, which we'll get to in some weeks' time. And that makes it even worse in a sense. The Gemara there in Bava Metzia is also Rabbi Yochanan, in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. Gadol onat dvarim me'onat mamon. If you oppress a person verbally, it's worse than stealing his money. Because on verbal oppression it says, and you shall fear God. By economic oppression it doesn't say that. For Rabbi Elazar Omer, and Rabbi Elazar says, Ze begufo v'ze b'mamono. When you oppress somebody verbally, you're oppressing his body. When you oppress somebody with money, it's just money. Asks Tosfos there in Bava Metzia. And that's what Rabbi Akiva refers us to. But our Gemara here in Bava Kamma says even if you take money from a person, you're taking his neshama away. How can Rabbi Elazar say, this is just money? If you oppress somebody with words, you're oppressing him physically. If you oppress him with money, you're just taking him money. It's extraneous to him, whereas oppressing his body, oppressing his being, oppressing his identity, that's intrinsic to who he is, that's more serious. Asks Tosfos, but here we see that even taking money from somebody is ki'ilu notel nishmato. Just Tosfos, but there are some people who are wealthy, and it's not so serious if you take a bit of money from them, and that's the kind of onat mamon that Rabbi Yochanan is talking about in Bava Metzia. And this just added to my concern during the night. Rabbi Akiva didn't make it easier. And usually when Rabbi Akiva references another Gemara, it's because he has a difficulty. And I'm wondering whether his difficulty is the same difficulty. It's all very well. Tosfos resolves the Gemara in Bava Metzia. What is Rabbi Elazar saying? We've got a problem with Bava Kamma, so he answers it in such a way that now Bava Metzia makes good sense. But says, and Rabbi Akiva doesn't comment there in Bava Metzia. Rabbi Akiva comments here, implying, yes, but it doesn't make sense in our Gemara. Very well, Tosfos, you've explained away the problem in Bava Metzia. But when you're learning Bava Kamma, it doesn't make sense because we're not talking about a poor person only. We're talking about a wealthy person too. So the question comes back to me, why then would it be so serious to take a cent away from Bill Gates, from a billionaire? Why would that be so serious? Kilu notenet nishmato. So you're taking a piece of his neshama. Yes, I understand. Bill Gates put his life and his heart and everything into the generation of his wealth, and this is one little piece out of that wealth, and a little piece has still got a part of the neshama. So we can understand it mathematically. But it doesn't help us really understand it intuitively and emotionally. The approach to understanding this piece of Gemara of Rabbi Yochanan came to me in a little tiny note written by the great-grandfather of President Herzog. If anybody has access to President Herzog, they should send him the shir, because I don't know if he knows how great his great-grandfather was. I know that he knows how great his grandfather was, the chief rabbi of Eretz Yisrael, Rav Herzog. But his great-grandfather was also a very great Talmid Chacham. He was Rabbi Yoel Leib Halevi Herzog. And all he says is, check out the Gemara in Chulin Daf Tzadi Aleph Amud Aleph. That's all he says. What's in the Gemara in Chulin Daf Tzadi Aleph? Imagine we've got a president in Israel whose great-grandfather wrote a note on this piece of Gemara that opens up the sugya. It's Israel. That's where we are. That's where we live in. And these people, as I said in the video clip, around the world judging Israel as to who we are and what our stature is and genocide and everything else that comes with it. Look who we are. What's in Chulin Daf Tzadi Aleph? Chulin Daf Tzadi Aleph. Omer Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar explains why Yaakov went back for the little odds and ends that he left on the other side of the river, and he met Sarah Shel Esav. You know this Gemara, Rashi brings it. Mikan letzadikim shechaviv aleihem mamonam yoter migufam. Tzadikim value their money more than their bodies. Here you see there's a philosophy of money. Rabbi Elazar understands that money is not just money. There's something spiritual in money. Your body is just a body, but money is your neshama. You don't let that go. People take their lives and take the lives of others and give their lives for money. There's neshama in it, says Rabbi Elazar. And tzaddikim, he's not talking about a secular businessman. He's not talking about Bill Gates here. He's talking about the Chofetz Chaim. Tzaddikim value their money more than their bodies. So he took a physical risk to go back and get that money. Who's Rabbi Elazar? Rabbi Elazar is a talmid of Rabbi Yochanan. This is not Rabbi Elazar the Tana, this is Rabbi Elazar the Amoira, a talmid of Rabbi Yochanan. Who's Rabbi Yochanan? Rabbi Yochanan is the one who said in Bava Metzia, but Rabbi Yochanan is also the person who says in our Gemara, Kol הגוזל את חבירו שווה פרוטה כאילו נוטל נשמתו. Our Gemara is Rabbi Yochanan. So there's a school of thought, there's a philosophy of money that we're seeing over here. And that goes back to a Yerushalmi in Trumas. where Rabbi Yochanan said, I was robbed by the people of Kenya. And he comes to the Beis HaMedrash, and Reish Lakish asks him a question, and he doesn't answer. And Reish Lakish says, what's on your mind? What's going on? And he says, I was robbed. And Reish Lakish says, get over it. It's only money. And Rabbi Yochanan says, listen to what Rabbi Yochanan's answer is. And in this you have the whole philosophy of Rabbi Yochanan. Kol ha'ivarim tzluyim belev. All of a person's body, every part of the body, is linked to the heart. V'halev talui bekis, and the heart is linked to the wallet. This is not a banker talking. This is not an entrepreneur talking. This is Rabbi Yochanan. And we see that in the Chovos HaLevavos at the beginning of Shara, in the Hakdama of Shara Bitachon, where he talks about a chassid who prays to Hashem, may I not have a scattered mind. And they say to him, what does a scattered mind mean? He says, if I have businesses scattered all over the world, that gives me a scattered, and then my mind is all over the world. Come and get over it. Your business is your business. When you're sitting and you're learning Gemara, your mind's on the Gemara. It's not possible because, as Rabbi Yochanan says, the heart goes after the wallet. You invest so much in the creation of wealth. Creation of wealth, you're a shutuf with the Ribbono Shel Olam. You're creating. That's what wealth is. You create wealth. You're doing something divine. You're a partner with Hashem in the act of creation. You're building businesses. You're building value. You're creating employment. That's what a businessman is doing. Halev tolei bekis. The heart is connected to the wallet, says Rabbi Yochanan. That's what we invest so much effort in. So now we understand Rabbi Yochanan saying that the heart invested in the wallet, be careful with a person's money. And understand, if somebody gives you some money, if somebody spends money on you, he entertains you on a Friday night, or he gives you a gift, understand what he's giving you. He's taking money out of his pocket and investing it in you, and that money is his neshama he's investing in you. And if a person gives tzedakah, and when you give tzedakah, give it realizing you're not just dropping a penny into the can, you're taking from your neshama, and you're giving from your neshama to the neshama of the poor person. Look him in the face and greet him and allow that flow of energy. The money is just a channel through which you're passing from yours to theirs. A child from a parent from a child. When money passes hands, there's energy, there's spiritual energy, there's neshama that's passing from one person to another. Be aware of that. That's Rabbi Yochanan's philosophy of money. Money is not just money. Money is neshama. And if one takes another person's money, ki'ilu noitel es nishmasa. That's Rabbi Yochanan here, and it's Rabbi Elazar in Bava Metzia. And it's Rabbi Elazar in Bava Metzia explaining his Rabbi Yochanan also there in Bava Metzia. And it's Rabbi Elazar in Chulin. And it's Rabbi Yochanan in the Yerushalmi. It's right through Shas. That's Rabbi Yochanan's view of currency, of money, of how it is and what it is. And that's why, as we said in our Shir Psicha, in the opening Shir of Bava Kamma, what did Rav Yehuda say? Hai man de boyim lemevi chasido. If you want to live as a chosid, lekayim mili de nezikin. Know the laws of money, because in money there's neshama, in money there's spirituality. Be careful with money. Understand money. Understand the justice, not only the technical rights and obligations in business, but the spiritual rights and obligation. And be careful how you acquit yourself, how you live with your money, how you use your money, how you appreciate your money and the money of everybody else.